Welcome back, everyone, for episode 3 of the MIQ series. I have Mark Metz with me again. As I mentioned in the previous episode, we are going to talk a little bit about the purchase leaseback motion. This, as I mentioned, is the tip of the spear, the beginning of the migration process, because in this kind of motion, we're doing something that's not very common when it comes to leaving a data center, which is we're going to buy your stuff before you're done using it. We want to give you money before you migrate, not afterwards. And as we mentioned before, in this market, that has a variety of benefits. So, Mark, I'm going to let you walk through this slide again. Tell us what we're looking at.
Thank you, Chris. We have a very unique and unusual offering, and a lot of customers they've heard of purchase leasebacks and may have done them. But typically, that is when they're buying new equipment and they want to lease it instead of buy it. So they might buy that equipment new from a VAR, and then a bank or funding source buys it immediately, right when it's delivered and leases it back. The difference that we're offering is that we're buying equipment that you may have been using for 5 years already. It's maybe already close to end of life, or certainly the book value is substantially lower than when it was purchased. So we have a process where we can kind of immediately evaluate tens of thousands of different assets and come up with a valuation. So in this case, we're willing to fund a customer with approximately $75,000 upfront that they can then use to help pay for consultants, tools, software to help in their migration process. Then during the leaseback period, which in this case is kind of a 6 months at first, they make a flat payment that can then go to an elastic payment. So we offer this elastic lease, which is very unusual in the market, which is we're only going to charge you for what you're using. And that is unusual. Most purchase leasebacks are kind of a fixed price over a fixed term, usually 36 months. And we do a short-term deal that matches exactly the migration schedule that you have planned for your assets. In this case, the customer has told us they want to migrate in between 6 and 12 months. So we offer a lease in this case that is flat for 6 months, and then it goes elastic. So at that point, as they start decommissioning assets, they don't pay the lease rate for that asset that's been decommissioned. So the lease rate goes down. And you can see the chart there at the bottom that shows kind of the estimated payments based on the wave schedule on what they're going to be decommissioning. So they start off paying this flat rate of $5,400, and then it drops as they decommission assets. And you can see then it goes to zero when they finally unplug the last one. So
what's really big too is a lot of these customers, right? Again, there's a lot of reasons that might slow them down going into the cloud. This is one of the few areas where you benefit from accelerating your migration to the cloud. And in fact, delays are costly as far as the cost model is concerned. We offer a situation where a customer is only incentivized to move faster in their migration. That's not only something that customers like because it keeps them on track, but also all of our cloud partners are a huge fan of this strategy, as you might imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. This gives them funding to pay for resources, and those resources can be used to migrate faster.
Yep.
And speed is the key here, Chris, because in our last episode we talked about the migration bubble. The migration bubble is that extra expenditure you have over time by maintaining two different environments. So logically, obviously, the faster you can move, the shorter that bubble is. If you could migrate everything in 1 month, you're only paying for those extra assets for 30 days.
Yep.
That's unusual, but the faster
there's a limit on a certain height of that bubble, right? But there's not really a limit on how long it can stretch. That's really up to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Migrate and, you take your time and migrate one app every year and stretch it out for 10 years, you're going to have a long bubble. But this is kind of migration accelerant, I guess is the best way to think about it. Give you money that you can use, and then bill you based on the assets that you're still using over time. So, and then we estimate what we call a value recovery. So at the end of this migration, how much value did you get for these assets? In this example, I'm not showing you the assets on this particular slide, but our estimate is that the book value that the customer has in their books is close to zero on these. And so they are getting a great value for assets that are on their books at nothing.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. To your point, on your books, these might be completely gone. These are nearly 5 years old. It can make a huge impact there from how you're able to allocate budgets towards other things. And we're trying to estimate that up front. We're wanting to make sure customers can understand this financial impact before it happened, because while migrations have a lot of technical conversations, surprisingly, some of the most obstructive conversations are the financial ones. They're harsh realities in any company that often can't be crossed. So anything we can do to alleviate those obstacles, huge impact. Huge impact on time, on cost, everything.
There's another barrier that this eliminates. There is certainly a financial aspect here, but it also eliminates the barrier that a lot of decision makers deal with, which is, what the heck do I do with this stuff when we're done?
It's already built in. It's a part of the process.
It's a part of the process. Yeah. So we've seen customers over the years that go through some transition or migration, maybe from one app to another, or move a data center from one to the other, move to the cloud. And their strategy typically is, all right, unplug the server, and IT guy is going to come pick it up, and they're going to start stacking it up in a corner. And then at some point, a year or two later, an ITAD company comes and picks up the stuff and usually charges them money to pick it up and charges them to erase all the data and get certificates of destruction. So instead of getting a check up front for 75 grand and realizing a value of the 31,000, they actually cut a check for 31,000 just to get rid of this junk. And not only that, they're storing it for that entire time as well.
And they had no acceleration in their migration, so that bubble probably went longer.
Absolutely. So we not only give you a financial incentive to move fast and get us this equipment as fast as you can, but we eliminate the issue of, what do I do with this stuff when we're done?
It's a tough question. And when you work with us in the purchase leaseback, we bought it. We want our stuff back. We need it.
Yeah.
That's what we bought it for.
Yeah. And unlike other leasing companies that hope you go long and they want to extend your lease, we're very happy if you move as fast as you can and get us the equipment as fast as possible. It's good for us. It's great for the customer who saves money, and it's great for the cloud provider who gets them on the cloud as quickly as possible. So it's a win-win-win.
We're a cloud-focused vendor in this space. It's something where, we'll support you as long as you need, but the most of the business that we're doing are helping people get over this obstacle getting into the cloud. It's the problem we started understanding, all the way back in 2013 at the founding of ReluTech Technologies, and frankly, before that with your time at Canvas and so on. But it's one of those things where the earlier we can get in and figure out, okay, what is stopping you from migrating? All these things we do that might have some other companies that try to compete in that space exclusively for the long term, no cloud. We do it different. We make sure that we're actually helping people reach the finish line.
Absolutely. And these rental payments can be paid on AWS Marketplace to make it even better.
Yeah, so use it towards your cloud consumption. Do you have a PPA in place? We're an ISV Accelerate partner. We can help you burn that down.
Absolutely. So, and maybe to sum it up and we have these icons over on the right that, I guess, quickly talk about the value. You get cash first. You use that cash to accelerate. You have massive flexibility because as you decommission, your payments go down. So the payments go down and you end up with value from the gear, and you end up with a capable company who will erase your data and dispose of your equipment in an environmentally friendly way. And hopefully we're going to resell a bunch of it or reuse it for other maintenance customers that we have. And so
we try to keep it a healthy life cycle.
Absolutely. So that's kind of the net of our purchase leaseback.
It's exciting, and it's something that for us, we've really started finding a lot of interest in the last few years because for a variety of reasons, a ton of customers have found extra motivation to push for the migrations they've been putting off. So let us know what we can do to help make sure you're getting cash infusions up front. Now, on our next episode, we're going to get back into some of the savings areas that we were discussing in our previous episode. We're going to dig deeper in our hardware maintenance program. What does that mean? What does that look like? How can we structure that? And how does MIQ play into it? So stay tuned for the next one. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Chris.